Alright, we're going to discuss how to access these databases a little bit further. Now, this time I'm back at my Find Articles by Subject. I want to do something that's not really a literature paper. Let's say that I am giving let's say that I'm in a class and the teacher has given me an assignment that I have to research the topic of immigration. And I have to write an opinion paper about my thoughts on immigration, specifically illegal immigration from Mexico into the United States. Okay, that's pretty specific. If I look at my database articles here, that seems like it would be a pretty controversial issue, so we'll click on that. Controversial issues. This is going to be one that I use quite a bit in my classes. Pretty good. Opposing viewpoints in context and points of view reference center. Let's click on opposing viewpoints. One thing that this has not shown is that if you're using a computer off-site of Motlow, you can still access all these databases, but you may have to log in. And the login's very simple. I think it's the same information that you use for your student email, I'm pretty sure. But it has, like, at the login screen that will pop up if you try to access this off-site. It'll give you the instructions for how to what information is your correct login. I already logged in, so I'm okay. Okay, opposing viewpoints here. Notice they've got lots of different basic topics that are hot topics. Let's see if we can do a search. I said immigration, right? So let's do illegal immigrants. Well, we'll check that out, see what we find. Okay, notice here this has a lot of different sortings. It's got featured viewpoints, academic journals. This is actually a nice little category. These are basically articles that have been published about the topic in what we see as scholarly journals, not just magazines. Now there is a tab on here for magazines as well. It's got different magazine articles and of course newspaper articles as well. Let's check out this Hispanic Panic. This sounds like it may be helpful specifically for the Mexican immigration into the U.S. So I clicked on it here and I've got basically the article that I can read. After reading it, hopefully I'd find something that would fit into my article. Even if you don't find something after reading these articles that you can specifically bring into your paper, it'll still help inform your stance. As far as if you read information about your topic, it'll either give you stuff that you agree with or it'll give you stuff that you disagree with. So even if you don't like directly use it in your works cited page or as a paraphrase point or a direct quote, still it can help build up your argument. It can help you know more about the issue, and that'll probably show in your essay. I want to go through just a couple of problems that face us when we use these databases. One problem is that the navigation in some of these journal articles is a little wonky, and what I mean by that is the two I've shown you, the search feature is pretty straightforward. Some of these don't have such an easy search feature. They get a little confusing. I would argue if you find a database that you are not comfortable using, don't use it, because there's going to be another database that's doing the same thing that may be much more user-friendly. So that's kind of my suggested solution to that. Another thing that can be a problem I mentioned earlier is that sometimes you'll find results for information that may be just an excerpt from what you're trying to find, the secondary source you're trying to read. It may just be part of it. It may just be the abstract of it, or it may just be the works cited information. But like I said, if you do, let's see if Psych Articles has what I was talking about. Alright, here's an example of the search options I was talking about earlier. This is EBSCO. This is a great one for social sciences, such as psychology, sociology, things like that. But here, notice it says limit your results full text. And this is nice because this means you will not get a result that you can't actually read the entirety of. Another suggestion I give you to combat one of the obstacles here. The results here, they're not going to be very long. I mean, these are articles that aren't going to be pages and pages long. Rarely do you see an article that's more than like 40 pages. And I'd say that 40 pages is way too much for you to read. So here's the deal. If you get a result for an article that you think may be useful, and it's 40 pages long, and you're not exactly sure if it is going to be useful or not, it just seems like it might be, a lot of these articles have something called an abstract. And most of the time, you'll have a little tab that you can click on the abstract. And the abstract will give basically the main points of the article. You can read the abstract. It's usually just a paragraph long, and you can really quickly find out, will this be able to help me or not? So that means that you don't have to stop on page 22 and be like, oh, this isn't going to help me. This isn't about what I thought it was. And you've wasted all that time in reading. Instead, you can just kind of get the basic thesis of the article, which should give you a heads up of, oh yeah, this fits exactly with what I'm looking for. So check out those abstracts when they're available, and most of the times they are available. The biggest problem with using these database articles that I've found, especially in the scholarly journals, is these scholarly journals are written by professionals in their field. These are basically people who part of their job is publication. So sometimes the level of writing is very confusing. I don't want to say it's advanced, because that's not necessarily it. It's just confusing. The sentence structure is complicated. The sentence structure is just it's just clumsy. The word choice may be poor for the sake of sounding smart. And I'm a firm believer that communication, it's not about sounding smart, it's about clearly expressing your idea. Some of these articles, that's problematic. The ideas are there, but how they are expressed may be a little difficult for not a simple reader, just any reader. So if you read an article that you think you may want to use, but you're having difficulty understanding exactly what the point is, a couple suggestions. First of all, check out that abstract. That'll give you a summary of the basic kernel point of the article. Also, check out the topic sentences. It should have, if it's written well, it should have topic sentences. That'll tell you the main points of each section or paragraph or whatever. That can kind of help you see what the main points are. Also, read it again. If you read it just once and read it kind of quickly, don't be surprised if it's a little fuzzy when you're done. As a researcher, you should be prepared to put in the time to research, and that may mean reading an article more than once. I hope these videos have helped you navigate these excellent tools that are available for your use. And if you have questions running into it, please don't be afraid to ask me. Good luck.